Hello everyone, I'm Anush Yastani, the Director of Research and Education for the Queensland Fertility Group and the Director of Eve Health. Today we're going to discuss the birds and the bees, or more accurately, where do babies come from? Now, men and women pursue two very different but complementary strategies for reproduction. The average ejaculate contains about 250 million sperm, which means that a normal male produces around 1,000 sperm per second, which makes men the ultimate in multitaskers. Women, on the other hand, produce eggs only once and run out of this reserve over a period of a lifetime. Women peak at about 7 million eggs when they're in the womb. From that point, there's an inevitable loss of eggs, regardless of whether it's a woman having a period, whether she's on the pill, or whether she's ovulating. By the time a baby girl is born, that number's already dropped down to about 3 million, and by the time she goes through puberty, that's reduced to 1 million. By the onset of menopause, there will be no viable eggs left in the ovaries. So over a lifetime, a woman will ovulate less than 500 eggs, or what your average male produces in about a second. So while men go for quantity, it's not surprising that women will go for quality. Unlike sperm, which is really almost like a missile with a payload which contains a DNA, an egg is a beautiful, complex structure that has all the capacity to repair the sperm and to allow the embryo to grow in the first few days. Every month, a woman will produce one egg and release this in a process known as ovulation. This egg is in fact part of a group of eggs that have started growing over 150 days prior to this point. This group of eggs has been selected by a process that we don't really understand after they've been lying in wait for decades. The egg grows in a structure called a follicle that we can see on our ultrasound scans every time we do a scan. The follicle grows until ovulation, which usually occurs around the middle of a woman's cycle. We count cycle day from first day of the period, and the first day of your period is the first day that you have your period in the morning when you have full flow. So if a period comes before lunch, call that the first day. Don't count any spotting. If you're having a 28-day cycle, ovulation is likely around about day 14. Once the egg has been released in ovulation, it is actually only able to be fertilized for a few hours, so sperm have to be around to meet the egg. After sperm have been ejaculated, or sometimes placed inside of the vagina in our rooms, the sperm have to travel through the cervix across the endometrial canal to the tube. You can see the opening of the tube in this video. In this video, you see the uterine tube and the ovary on the right-hand side. After the egg has been picked up by the tube, the sperm enters the egg in the process of fertilization. Now that's a lock and key mechanism where the sperm needs to have the right key to fit the egg's lock. The embryo then travels up the canal to the uterine cavity. The embryo in fact spends the first 5 days in the tube until it reaches the endometrial cavity. In that time, it undergoes an incredible transition from a single cell to several hundred cells in a blastocyst. After finding the exact spot in the cavity that's appropriate for implantation, the embryo first attaches and then buries into the lining of the uterus. Again, this is a lock and key mechanism. In this time, the embryo forms the basic parts that will form the baby and the placenta. By the time a woman has missed her period, the chemical signs that an embryo has been implanted can be detectable in the HCG of the urine and in the blood. So by the time you've missed your first period, your embryo has in fact been in residence for a couple of weeks. This is where some of the confusion comes from. By the time you've missed your period, you're actually already 4 weeks pregnant, because we count from the first day of the period and not from ovulation or conception, which would really make more sense. Similarly, a pregnancy is not 9 months, but 40 weeks or 10 months. So sorry to disappoint, but you're better off knowing now. Thanks for watching. I'm Anush Yastani, Director of the Fertility channel. Don't forget to subscribe to our updates and like us on YouTube.